Can we start the show already?
Rosewater? Did that trigger something? I said Rosewater, and Ramsey was like, hit record, hit record.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about the idea of sparkling rosewater. Could be a good biz for us to get into.
Sparkling rosewater?
Dude, the Iranian beverage market right now is blossoming. This has been a really weird start to our podcast anyway. What with the bullying that I had to endure out front.
I think it was a nice thing, they said.
I pulled up. First of all, it is a little bit later than usual. Is it just me or I used to live life like prior to this pandemic? 9:30 was like a regular time for me.
Were you shocked that there was some boys hanging out?
I don't know what's going on. I'm like, it's 9:30, boys. What's up?
Yeah, I will admit I had a similar reaction when I heard them partying. I was like, my God, isn't it Tuesday? And I was like, oh, well, they're probably very excited about John Ossoff and Warnock winning.
Well, I don't even know what that means, but
It's the Georgia runoff is today.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm sure that's why the downstairs drug dealers are having some Stellas right now.
I have a pretty good feeling that by the way, the Democrats are going to win that one because Bitcoin is like surging through the roof right now, which means all bets are that money is going to be printing.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to win because they basically were like, hey, we'll give you $2,000 if you vote for us. And people are like, hey, that makes Puerto Rico a state, D.C. a state, an unchecked balance of power, but $2,000, let's do it.
I heard $2,000. I was like, I'm getting a P.O. box down there.
I want to know, and I haven't heard this yet. Is my 600, is it an additional 2,000 or am I getting 14?
First of all, Brian, nobody's ever accused you of having an informed opinion on anything. No one's ever been like, well, hold on. I know Bryan heard this from a reputable source.
Right. Well, yeah, people are like, I wonder how the stimulus breaks down. Let's call Bryan.
Let's give Bryan a call. Although, actually, I would call you. Yeah. I would call you for the unemployment portion of it. I know, only because I know you know.
There's several failed, former comedians, now just failed people throughout the greater Los Angeles and Bay Area. Do have me on retainer for matters such as food stamps, unemployment. Now I'm starting to get into helping people get disability from the military because I'm getting familiar with that process.
What is your retainer, by the way? Several Swisher Sweet wrappers, or
no? Whenever I'm in town, I get to sleep on your couch.
Oh, that's not a bad price.
And that includes L.A. If I feel like sleeping on your couch and I just want to swing on by.
What the fuck is a Swisher Sweet wrapper?
Well, a Swisher Sweet is a blunt, and people only use the wrapper.
Yeah.
I get it. Now I get why those boys were bullying you.
There was this. Okay, so I pulled up to Bryan's home a little bit later than usual this evening. It's 9:30, dude. I'm peeved right now. It's so late for me. I've got a sleeping cap on.
Yeah, he's wearing those pajamas where there's a door on the ass.
I literally have bifocals on the very edge of my nose. I'm pissed, dude. So I get to Bryan's house, pull up in his his duplex.
I call it a biplex.
His biplex goes both ways. And there's a group of Latinx.
Presumed. You're doing the same thing they did to you, Ramsey.
Okay, fair enough. There's a group of, we'll just say minorities to be safe. There's a group of minorities down there listening to God knows what, cutting each other's hair.
It's the most wholesome hangout. It's a couple of fellas drinking Stellas and cutting each other's hair because all the barbershops are closed, and they're listening to like the Smiths. It's totally fine.
They're drinking alcohol?
But there was no women.
I'm going to flog the shit out of those motherfuckers.
How many lashings is that?
10,000 bare minimum. Oh,
damn.
My God, dude. We'd beat the fuck. Those sticks, too. Those little wiggly sticks that they lash with. Ooh, they don't break. They whip perfectly.
It's like getting hit with a deep sea like fishing pole.
I want to get a couple of those. I want to get those
above your bed.
Get a few above my bed. Let the ladies know what's up.
Hey, don't be a whore around me.
Don't even think about it.
You get all hoary.
I was gonna say I would get it above the mantle of the fireplace, but it would disintegrate every time I every time I lit the fire. So
Right. Also, it's interesting because a lot of people would misunderstand that. They would see like some type of S&M looking type toys above your bed, and they would think that you're a freak.
Oh yeah, and plus with the burqa there, they'd
Yeah.
be like, "This guy's got a face mask and everything."
Yeah, it's 100% wrong. Couldn't be further from the truth.
No.
Much like what these fellas did to you.
Yeah.
What did they do to you?
So I pull up, and listen, I'm waiting for Bryan to come down, and whenever I get here, I text Bryan. Bryan's got to come down and greet me at the front. I'm like a lady. You know,
Yeah.
I need him to come down, open the door for me. So I texted Bryan, I'm here, and I saw these gentlemen were hanging out. Unfortunately, it was too late. I'd already gotten out of my car before I even realized what was going on.
Well, would you have stayed in the car until I opened the door?
Yeah, that would have been my plan. if if I only knew that these people were out there, I would have waited for you to open the door before I came through. But so I got out of my car wearing my kufiya mask. The kufiya mask, by the way, I realize I've been saying it a lot on the air lately.
Assuming everybody knows what that means.
I assume everybody here grew up in some
it
kind
sounds
of
like a plate of food to the rest of us.
I assume everybody here comes from some sort of a tribe clan background.
Right. Maybe a sandstorm could come at any moment.
So a kufiya is that scarf that Arabs wrap their face with. Also comes in handy, great for when your car's a little dusty. It's great, man.
Toilet paper on the run.
Yeah, I've currently got a sort of a ShamWow kufiya situation in the works right now. But anyways, I'm wearing one of my kufiya face masks. Got it from, we shouted him out on the last episode, Palestinian Stallion.
The worst name ever.
The Palestinian Stallion, dude.
You can't even say it.
You know, people always, what do you think of, when you think of Palestine, what do you think? Free horses running around. So these gentlemen saw me out front while I was waiting around, and when Bryan came and opened the door for me, they began to yell l'chaim.
And at first I didn't register it. So you scurried right in.
Oh,
I had to
course.
follow up.
Yeah.
I turned around and go, did you just say l'chaim?
Yeah.
And the guy goes, yeah, I'm Jewish. And I was like, oh, he was saying
Can I say he wasn't Jewish? Clearly not Jewish.
his dick was out
There's
and it was full of skin.
full of skin.
Yeah, fully covered.
Most people have their penises circumcised, right? Is there I don't even know what the stat is on that. Is there a stat on that?
I don't know. Most people are not circumcised.
Really?
In
Are
the
you
world?
Not the world. America.
Oh, in America? I have no idea.
Can we Google it? Most.
Yeah.
Let me see. Most. I'm just curious if circumcision, because people always make that joke in terms of like Judaism, but I feel like everybody I know is circumcised.
Well, here's the thing, though. If he wasn't circumcised,
Bryan,
you know he's not Jewish.
Answer the question. Are you
know he's-
circumcised or not?
Oh, me? No, I'm totally circumcised.
Of course.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, I'm not a freak.
Listen, if you weren't circumcised, I couldn't co-host the podcast. with
No,
you.
I wouldn't leave my house. I'd be a shut-in.
If
You wouldn't know me. I'd have no self-esteem.
I'm not trying to be rude in any capacity, but I couldn't have a professional relationship with anybody unless they were circumcised. That's just me, though.
Male or female.
Okay, come on, man.
It says that 66.
It's just some prevalence of circumcision. And look, I've got a map of the world, and for some reason, Africa is really red.
Deep red.
It is deep red. That cannot be good.
No.
Whatever it means, it can't be good. I don't know what it means.
So it looks like America is. This is a stupid map. So deep red means more than 80%. Yellow means less than 20%. Orange means 20 to 80%. That's an insane range.
Yeah, 20 to 80% means
That's no information.
it's somewhere between 2 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 people.
But Africa, definitely more than 8.
Really, this map is just telling us that Africa is definitely more than 8. Other than that, this map gives us no information.
And this male, yeah. So I'm not entirely sure, but I would imagine that around 60. It's because it says here about 70% of Midwestern male babies are circumcised.
Yeah, that's so okay. All right. Well, so I don't know. I don't think it's fair to only associate that with the Jewish people. That's all I'm saying.
All I said was if he wasn't circumcised, you know for a fact l'chaim is sarcastic.
Yeah. Well, but by the way, this guy was treating me. No way was he circumcised. I tell you what,
No decency.
no decency.
He
This
had
guy.
a dirty dick attitude. I'll tell you that right now.
So, anyways, I go back down. I realized, by the way, before we start the show, after I have this horribly uncomfortable encounter, I realize that I leave my drink in the car.
Classic.
I go downstairs. I come out of the house. By the way, I don't have my I don't have my shoes on. I don't have my shoes on.
Like
I don't have my
mosque.
I don't have my sweater on. These guys
Okay, I'm putting it together.
These guys for sure think I'm here to fuck you. And I'm in my car. Dude. So, anyways, I now have to burn down this entire neighborhood, unfortunately.
It's the worst hour of the week with Bryan Vokey and Ramsey Badawi.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, and people of the future, mourning my demise by listening to this episode. I think that in the future, people will listen to this after something sad has happened to me.
Do you think this will get played at your funeral? This particular episode?
I don't think it'll get played in particular. I think people will come back to it after I've been hit by a semi-truck.
Right. Or jumped in front of a semi-truck.
Well, I tried to get clipped by the mirror. That's sort of my method.
Going for a lawsuit and accidentally died.
Yeah. Yeah. What's called the Ramsey, unfortunately, known in the legal system. If you are listening to this, by the way, after I've died, you've been no help to me throughout my life, and I renounce you fully. What people could do that? Wouldn't you? Don't you do that sometimes? Whenever I hear somebody I know died or somebody I kind of know died, I love going on their Facebook and.
Oh, I've got probably no less than 10 dead numbers in my phone still.
But do you ever even people I don't know? If I'm on a YouTube page and I found out that the guy in the video died, I'm like, ooh,
I'm looking at a dead guy.
I'm looking at a dead. I don't know why, man.
Yeah, I guess I do. I don't do it on Facebook, but I definitely, if I find out a musician, I find out the worth of a musician by if they're dead or not. I'm like, okay, he's dead. Maybe he was talented.
Yeah, there's a good chance, possibly.
Yeah. If he's alive, he's probably a phony.
You know, I think eventually you become a phony. You either you there's no choice, right?
Right. I feel like I'm getting more and more authentic, and by that I mean poor.
Yeah.
As I get older.
I'm actually going completely the opposite way right now. I've been completely bought and sold.
By?
Can you just get bought? I'd like to just be bought.
You just collected dust on the shelf.
Don't sell me. Obviously, if you sold me, then I think I've lost value at that point to you.
But technically, if you've been sold, you've just been bought again. So you've been bought and bought.
Oh, I like that. Where that's
See?
going. Yeah,
I'm a motivational speaker.
I like that better. The Worst Hour podcast, bought and bought
Exactly.
by the people.
Right, funded in part or in whole by
the people. Assuming that you do believe Citizens United that corporations are people, this is the podcast of
Absolutely.
The people. Let's see here. On today's show, we're going to be talking about some really exciting stuff here. We have a surge in COVID in Los Angeles, and of course, I'll be doing a little Sharia legal analysis on a recent string of Iranian executions. It wouldn't really be a show.
Yeah, we gotta.
Unless I put on my Sharia legal analyst pants.
Your lawyer hat.
My lawyer skull cap.
Yeah. You're
So,
actually, I pictured you one of those Dagestani white giant furry hats that they wear.
I gotta show you, and we've been watching a lot of great. This show has slowly turned into
You gotta see this video.
a Middle Eastern media analysis program. Brian and I have become Middle Eastern media watchdogs. And I got to show you this. There's a documentary I saw on the Sharia legal system in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. In the UK, there's a full system. And by the way, I say there's a system, but I use that word very loosely, of legal courts that exist to rule over the British Muslims. So you go to this like office and they're like, yeah, we're the legal counsel of Sharia or whatever.
Oh, the Hasids do that in Brooklyn.
So they have their own sort of legal system.
Yeah, they have their own little underworld court, but you can't they can't cut somebody's head off, right? Or has England become so PC that they're like, hey, it's their culture. Who are we to say?
I tell you what, you can't cut someone's head off, but you might as well, because
Right.
I saw a scene where a woman was crying and begging for a divorce. She was like, please. And this this judge listens to her all the way through.
Judge.
He's a judge. Yeah.
Okay.
All the way through, he listens to her, and at the very end, he goes, well, let's give you guys 1 more month and we'll see how it goes. And he basically writes on like a script 1 more month and hands it to the husband.
Like a doctor?
Like a doctor.
I'll give you a prescription of 1 more month of marriage.
Could be something we'll cover in the future. I don't know. It's a good time. But nonetheless, we'll be doing that. And by the way, we're going to do all that, and we're going to close the show off with one of our favorite segments around here. You heard it here last. A great video we're going to be watching today of I guess it's an Arabian prank show.
It's an Egyptian kind of version of Punk'd.
By the way, on this show, this is the second time in a row we've watched an Arabian prank show.
Spoiler alert. Every time you watch an Arabian prank, there is a punch thrown within 8 seconds.
Yeah. There is no such thing as a Arabian prank show that doesn't end in some type of an Old Testament kind
Right.
of violent act.
And this one is no exception.
No exception at all. Before we get into today's fantastic show, a little bit of business, if it's okay with you, Bryan, a little house cleaning, as they say.
Of course.
Please follow the show across all social media platforms at Worst Hour Pod. You can email the show, of course, at worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com. Where, by the way, if you do email us there, I don't care who you are or what you do, I will assume you're a fan.
It has happened.
Earlier today, we got an email from somebody who
Hot avatar.
very hot avatar. I was looking at this email and I thought, God damn, this hot ass fan really just wants to sell us t-shirts.
And the email it was a hot avatar, and the email was addressed to just me. It said, "Hey, Bryan."
Oh, you don't think that I was fucking steamed about that? I was so steamed about that. It was like a South American woman with like, I could tell big honkers and that.
Yeah, just from the way she said "best" as her sign off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I read that whole email and I literally was waiting. I knew it was an ad all the way through, but I was like, let me just kind of get to the end here and make sure she's not going to say, love that last episode.
Yeah. Boy, that deep dive on the Saudi royal family was unbelievable.
I really wanted to read it. I was like, she's going to say she loves the show.
Marketing is pretty crazy, but yeah, she wants to make t-shirts for us. I am trying I'm trying to set up maybe a video chat with her at best.
Now, Bryan, you do understand we have to get her permission to record her, right?
I'm going to drive to Arizona, and then I'll record it because Arizona is not a two-party state.
And Nevada. Don't forget Nevada.
Oh
too.
yeah, it's only 4 hours away.
If that is something that you and I could totally do together. We should drive out for a weekend, go to Nevada, record a bunch of phone calls,
Bring them back.
do a show.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, especially our international listeners, the rules of recording somebody without letting them know is state by state, and California is a two-party state, which means both parties have to know that they've been recorded.
Yeah, I do. I often when debt collectors call me to let me know that they're recording, I often let them know I'm recording as well.
Oh, you're recording? Good. I got mine going too, so in case something happens to yours, I can shoot over mine.
Well, mine is of course. We have to do that as a segment on the show. Me speaking to my debt collectors.
Just, hey, what's your name?
It's a quality assurance call. I got to make sure things are going quality for me as well.
All right, Jose, I just want to let you know I'm recording for, quality purposes.
It's quality purposes, and it's also for my educational course, my online course. So It's a know your
teaching a
rights.
master class on how to dodge debt.
I want to do basically, you know how Colin Kaepernick does like know your rights for young black children?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do a know your rights for young deadbeats where I explain to them. You know,
I could do that too, for sure.
Yeah, that could sort of be the law offices of Bryan and Ramsey.
Yeah. We don't use our last names like every other law office.
No. It's Bryan and Ramsey. In fact, it's Bryan and Dominic, if anybody asks.
Bryan and R. The law offices of B and R.
We keep it very tight.
Yeah.
Close to the but if you know our names, you've already paid the retainer, so it's totally fine.
All of our sessions are Zoom only. We black out our face and lower our face. So tell me about your uninsurance claim.
We're the only attorney where it's like, well, no, we don't do anything in writing. We've never done a thing in writing. All payments must be Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum or some other obscure altcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, man. Let me see here. What else? Hey, by the way, I want to take this opportunity really quickly to remind all of you that we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/WHotW. $5 a month gets you a bonus episode, gets you all kinds of fun new content. I give everybody a sneak peek this weekend of a podcast I currently have in development. I won't even say it on the air here. That's how exclusive it is to our Patreon.
I feel like you should at least say who the co-host is.
No, I refuse to. I won't say a damn thing.
Okay.
I won't say a damn thing. I won't say anything about this exclusive podcast that I'm doing with Keith Carey.
Yeah.
That we gave a sneak peek to on our Patreon. Patreon.com/WHotW. It's the only way that we make money, people. Let's see. We don't. It's with your generous support. We refuse to go corporate. We'll never take a deal from Spotify or Apple. Although I did say that I do think we should consider one if Al Jazeera puts one on the table.
Right. Yeah. Oh, dude, AJ Plus. If we got picked up by them,
I don't want AJ Plus. I want Al Jazeera or possibly ISIS's magazine, Dabiq. You ever see Dabiq magazine?
no, but I bet the graphic design is perfect.
Dabiq magazine is an online, jihadist zine. It is like a zine, and it's very scary.
Is it black and white?
It's black and white. It's
right up my alley.
how to make a rice cooker turn to a bomb, and how young is too young, really, if you think about it. There's a lot of those.
Is there a Dear Abby type advice column in there?
There should be like a Dear Abby, or maybe even like I was gonna say, what's the sex one? Like Cosmopolitan quizzes we could do.
Yep. Or Dr. What was that old one? The German one. Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth, yeah, absolutely. What kind of Molotov cocktail are you?
Right. What kind of whore are you?
Yeah, what kind of whore are you? I feel like there could have been a better Molotov cocktail joke in there, but it's not. I'm still gonna say I'm gonna take it as a victory.
Yeah, it's like Molotov cocktail, diesel or unleaded.
Oh, there we are. Something.
Some kind of advice there. You do want to go diesel, by the way.
You do want to go diesel without a question.
Everybody knows that.
Diesel or possibly, I don't know. Rubbing alcohol's not too bad.
No, it'll stick.
It'll stick.
If you throw little pieces of styrofoam in there, it becomes napalm.
So anyway, that's
know.
a different Patreon you have to subscribe to get that information. Let's see here. And if you're a fan, by the way, of the show and you don't have a few dollars to spare every month, I think it's time that you stop listening. I really do. This relationship can only go so far with you having no money. But if you do insist on continuing to listen, the least you could do is give us 5 stars on the Apple Podcast app. You can also follow me across all social media platforms at Ramsbad, and you can follow Bryan at Bryan J. Vokey on Twitter and Mr. Bryan Vokey on Instagram.
Yep. Also, I think our show is growing. I'm not entirely sure because the last 3 times I went on Buzzsprout, one of our cards was changed.
Yeah.
Every time I go on Buzzsprout, it says your account is suspended, and I'm like, I just wanted to check the numbers.
Buzzsprout is our podcast. It's our podcast
host
site, which is where we post our podcast. And yeah, maybe I don't like to keep a current file on. Maybe I don't like to keep a current card on file with them.
Yeah, we bounce around. Both of us bounce around on debit cards and bank accounts.
We're a lot like our Patreons. We don't like having a consistent payment source. We'll let you know when we have an updated card.
Yeah, we're the kind of pay the bill once the lights are off.
Once the lights are off. All right, let's get into these stories here. We got a soundboard, and we're not scared to use it. I want to be completely clear about that.
Here's one from the Patreon that's still loaded on.
Abdulaziz ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Faisal ibn Turki ibn Abdullah ibn Muhammad al Saud, or simply Abdulaziz.
That makes me so uncomfortable.
That white guy saying that?
It just makes me so weird. I learned on our most recent episode of Patreon, we watched a documentary on Saudi Arabia where there were a lot of English people talking about the Arab world. Yeah. I realized that's a thing. Like, there are English people who love the Middle East.
There's so many videos of like white guy shocks Arabs by speaking perfect Arabic.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like in a grocery store haggling over dates, and you can tell it's the same thing as the guy who goes to Japan.
Yeah.
And wants to fuck Japanese girls.
That doesn't impress me, but I will say this. Every single time a British person does an American accent, I go, there's no fucking way you're a person. There's no way.
What are you, a robot?
I go crazy. It's like you showed me a magic trick. I lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of Islamophiles, if that's a word.
Jesus Christ, dude.
There
can't be a lot of Islamophiles. There's probably a lot of Islam. We kind of like it.
Well, I'm talking about that YouTube brand of white guy.
Yeah.
An Islamophiliac.
I want to find a different word besides Islamophile. It just doesn't seem like the right word to be doesn't seem like the right suffix to be right next to the word Islam, but that's just me. All right, so COVID soaring here in Los Angeles. 1 out of 5 tests is positive. How do you feel about that, Brian? You know, you're immune for
I feel like an
weeks.
X-Man. I'm walking around like I feel like I'm in Magneto's bubble.
But you are only immune for a very limited time. You're aware of this, right? I mean, I feel like at first
it's like my Dropbox free trial.
I said this to you when you initially got better. I was like, it's immune for a limited time. And I think you brushed it off.
Yeah. All I heard was immune.
And now I don't think you're hearing me.
I have superpowers.
You are only going to be immune for like another month, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, that's fine. And then it's over. Everybody's vaccinated.
I don't think you're wrong. I think at that point, everyone's either vaccinated or we're a forest where a fire has hit it, and most of the city is burnt down at that point.
Yeah, it's chill.
So
I do feel like a superhero, though.
Yeah, you. So we were initially gonna bring back. We're basically getting the old team back together here at the Worst Hour Nation.
There's been a reconciliation.
There's been a reconciliation. We locked in his contract. I guess we should announce it now.
Yep.
There were some negotiations back and forth in terms
real
of
hardball.
It's really it was a real, it was hardball in a way that I was not prepared for it. But we did secure Tyler, the Creator, back as a producer here at the Worst Hour Nation. We're very excited to have him back. We don't know when that's going to be.
No, I called him today, and we were going to record with him today, but he was in a very serious game of League of Legends.
Yeah.
And he was also a little high.
Yeah. We called him. So here's the thing. We had booked him initially to come on and help us record. But we realized, with the way that COVID rates are soaring, first of all, I don't want to get it. I just go, listen, I don't want to do anything to not do another Zoom podcast.
I know, right?
Zoom, people don't understand how bad Zoom comedy is. I really don't.
It's so hard.
And it's hard and uncomfortable for me to even do as a person. Like, it's like fucking somebody while you're wearing a condom and then they're also wearing a condom. So no one is even close to feeling anything
exactly
good.
Right.
So anyways, we uninvited Tyler, and we'll get back to it once the COVID.
You know how I broke the news to him?
Here's the thing. I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew he was invited in the first place.
I called him and I said, I don't know if I'm speaking on behalf of Ramsey or Ramsey's girlfriend right now. And I said, but there is some, with the COVID spike, there's some fears going on. So maybe just sit this one out until things lower. And I go, like I said, I don't know who that's coming from.
I'm surprised he didn't care more. Tyler is a guy who's always looking stressed and he's always sweating, every single thing. So I'm surprised that he was even comfortable coming out in the first place.
Yeah, I bet, he's got a medical wife.
Yeah, possibly.
He might have gotten vaccinated.
Maybe. Yeah, that could be very true. He is also, I believe, an essential worker.
Yep, he delivers weed. So yeah,
that's basically essential right there. I love that. By the way, Brian, you think that just because you can't give it to me, Brian thinks that he can invite 1 million people in the room, and as long as we all know him, we won't get.
I like how you think there's any part of me that's considering what's going on with other people.
Not in one capacity.
No, it's like I haven't even. It's not I don't think I can't give it to anybody. It's I don't give a shit what happens.
Yeah, I know it's not good. It's not good.
It's not a good attitude. I don't promote that, and not that it was satire.
Well, it was satirical, but also I do want to point out Brian beat it pretty quickly.
I did. I whooped its ass.
It's getting bad, so we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it safe. That's our goal here, and we only, like I said, we only want to anything to avoid a Zoom podcast. That's honestly all I care about right now.
The news is saying, I don't know if this is true, but I heard on the news that they're saying like don't bring in people who have no chance of surviving into the ER, and I was like, shouldn't that just always be a policy?
Don't bring in people into the ER who have like
almost no chance of surviving.
Like if I get shot in the heart, the ER is off limits for me.
Yeah,
I think
it should be that way.
Yeah, by the way, the ambulances and the whole emergency system in LA already was on shaky ground as it is. Mm-hmm. You could literally, if you called cops in LA prior to all of this happening or hit 911. It would be 45 minutes, an hour till anybody responded. So I can't even imagine what it's like right now.
I remember in Oakland, the lady laughed at me. There was a drive-by, and they shot my friend Barker's van up on accident. Like, well, I don't know if it was on accident, but it wasn't the target. And we called, and they were like, so is anybody shot? We're like, no, there was just, I don't know. There was gunfire, and my friend's van got shot up, and they're like...
Yeah, they're like, that's good.
They were like, what are you calling me for?
But we didn't do it, did we? That wasn't us, was it?
Wait, have you found a shell? Does it say OPD on it?
Because I have a guy here who says that he can vouch for me that I've been here the whole day. He's like...
And you just hear across the phone.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. We're going to play it safe. Anything to avoid a Zoom call ever again. I want to talk about this story right here. Julian Assange, the UK refuses to extradite Assange. Can we give props to Julian Assange here? This guy it's over a decade. This guy can't stay out of the news.
No, he made the last 10 years of news.
I may die while I listen to people argue over where Julian Assange...
By the way,
where he's going to go online next. That's all he's doing. He's just going online doing interviews and podcasts.
Yeah. What windowless room in what country will he be stored in next?
Does it even matter where he is anymore at this point? If we're all like just doing Zoom calls to each other remotely, who even gives a shit?
I just found out today that he's not American.
He's
Australian.
Oh, I thought he was Swedish.
No, he got into some, shenanigans up there.
I knew he wasn't American. He is a little too he's way white. I mean, he's translucent, man.
He's translucent because he's barely been allowed to see the sun for 5 years.
Did you see, by the way, why the UK refused to extradite Assange?
Because our prisons are too barbaric.
It says, it's UK judge refuses to extradite Julian Assange, says he would surely kill himself in an American prison. I mean, it's not a bad point of view. A British judge has rejected the United States' request to extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to face espionage charges, saying it would be oppressive because of his mental health. The U.S. government said it would appeal the decision. American prosecutors have indicted Assange on 17 espionage charges and 1 charge of computer misuse.
Naughty boy.
Whoa, hold on. 17 espionage charges, and we think he may have possibly misused the computer.
I clicked on that link because it said raise my credit score. I didn't know where it was going to lead.
He agreed to a few terms and conditions on December 12th.
And he violated them.
Seems like he may have violated
allegedly.
them. So, and listen, I'm telling you, there's some suspicions on calculator misuse too. So where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm just saying.
Have you ever seen videos of Pamela Anderson walking into the embassy to hang out with him?
Are they still some type of what were they, like a piece? Were they together? He was fucking her.
She was visiting him, and they asked her on Australian TV, how often have you visited him? And she said, a lot.
You know, if Pamela Anderson agreed to fuck me, I would say that the only condition that I would fuck her is if it was possible for me to impregnate her. Raw dog, no birth control whatsoever.
Yeah. Dude, she's the Tom Brady of sex tapes. Like, if one came out, you'd be like, God, she's got a 20-year difference in her sex tapes, and they're both would be phenomenal.
And, you know, by the way, that was not even anything per se sexual. And while I do agree with you, I'm just saying I would love the idea of being like, have a kid with Pamela Anderson. It's so fucking annoying, dude. It's so annoying that my kid's mom is such a fucking hot slut.
Yeah, she maybe named the kid Julian, though.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, there's. If they have a kid together, that's gonna be a white child, man.
Yeah, she's Canadian.
She's got range. Tommy Lee to Julian Assange.
Yeah, the dude from Poison.
Oh yeah, man. Who else is in? There's gotta be some wild.
Kid Rock
in the mix. It's gotta be some wild people that we
actually.
Don't
She
know
doesn't
about.
have any range at all.
Yeah, it's just. Well, among white people.
It's just mostly rebellious, long-haired white guys.
It's really the same person over and over and over and over again.
Have you ever seen Tommy Lee and Julian Assange in the same room?
That's a good point. Tommy Lee does seem like he could be alternate universe string theory Julian Assange.
Yeah. Do you think that he's going to stay, or you think he's going to go to Mexico? Because Mexico offered him a place to stay.
I would be like, hold on, and how many years in prison in the U.S. am I facing? Be like, let me do the math on that. It's life in prison. Okay, where? Yeah. Okay, all right. Which one would you rather go to? You go Mexico. By the way, freedom.
Yeah, ish.
Freedom-ish. Yeah, exactly. There's no guarantees you're not going to be near one of them cartel villages.
Yeah, with the all-out wars.
By the way, the cartel, man, we got to do a real deep dive. This weekend in the Patreon, we are doing a deep dive into the cartels because that is some wild shit. I can't believe we've never talked about that.
I know.
On the show.
I'm kind of new to El Mencho, but I'm a fan.
The thing about the cartel violence that I don't like is it's a little. So you would think that as a big fan of ISIS, you would think that maybe with the cartel I would have an immediate maybe fondness or admiration due to the similar nature, but I don't like the cartel, to be honest with you. They're a little too pragmatic and straightforward with what they're doing.
Right.
They're selling drugs and making money, and I don't really like them that. I like that ISIS is like, I don't know what the fuck these guys want. I'm not sure. They want to go back in time. It's impossible to do. We can't give it to them.
Just give me a straight answer. What is it you want?
I think if we could go back in time, that would be preferable.
Yeah.
So, I can't do that, man. Right. I could give El Chapo $1 billion. I can't pedal you back to 9/12, man.
I know. Like Dick Cheney is like, we're gonna bomb them back to the 7th century, and they're like, sounds good. Great deal. Sounds great.
And how much do we have to pay?
So I just gotta throw some plutonium on the ground.
Is there anything else I can do? They're hiding the weapons of mass destruction.
In their own yard.
Anything. Yeah, man, I think I would take, I'd do the Mexico thing, get some cheap prescription drugs while you're down there.
Some dental work. You know he's not getting it in England.
I love the idea that Julian Assange getting his teeth fixed in Mexico. Watching the Donkey Show. Seeing if it's real. The Donkey Show is a myth. Is it real?
How is that a myth?
worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com. Is the Donkey Show real? These are the types of questions.
This is a question Tyler will probably know. Was Tyler a Marine? Because if Tyler was a Marine, he was stationed down there in San Diego.
Tyler was a naval officer.
He was a seaman.
Tyler was in charge of defending our borders at some point.
Tyler had the codes to the nukes. And he lost them, obviously.
The peace in the region was all attributed to the fact that Tyler couldn't remember any of the codes.
We were about to have a mutually assured destruction with Russia or China. They were both about to launch nukes, and they were like, Kizar, put in the codes. He starts tapping his pockets. He hits his butt, his chest, his side. He's like, oh, fuck, dude, I lost the codes.
The best part about this is Tyler has just no idea. He's such a large part of our podcasting conversations. Gotta love it, man. Let's see here. A couple more stories before we get out of here. So what's going on with Jack Ma?
His name always just makes me want to say is like me up. Remember that? It's me off, Jack.
Yeah, he does have a really bad fake name.
Jack Ma.
I like that so Jack Ma is the CEO of Alibaba.
Well, he retired last year, but he was the founder.
I like that I feel like he had to Jack Ma, Jack Dorsey. I feel like he even like intellectually stole that property.
Right. He probably did. I mean,
we're just like him.
Yeah, exactly. My business model is Amazon. My name is Twitter guy.
Exactly.
$35 billion later. Jack Ma is as close to a real life version of Ricky Gervais's character in The Office you've ever seen. You guys, you need to do a deep dive. We won't do it now, but actually you guys at home, go on YouTube and there's videos of him telling jokes, bombing really bad, lip syncing at concerts, like pretending he's playing guitar. He's a really embarrassing dude.
Looks bad too. Jack Ma is I gotta be completely honest with you, not a good looking guy.
A little bit kind of, I would say, preemie looking. Maybe came out a little early, unfinished.
Seems weird.
Maybe 7 months in the womb. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Your face is just not in the right spot. It just doesn't seem to be right.
Which is the perfect combination to make a billionaire.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that.
But he's the richest man in China. He runs Alibaba, which is China's Amazon, and which Ramsey is going to be maybe in their commercials, right? You could be.
I would love to be the Alibaba spokesperson. It doesn't make sense to not use someone like me.
Exactly.
And one of the things about me is I will stay on message. You know what I mean? You don't got to worry about me going off script or anything like that.
No, you will be 100% an actual genie.
I'm a company man.
You will grant their wishes.
I would love to be Alibaba, dude.
So Jack Ma, like I said, he's the richest man in China, but he criticized Xi Jinping and the government over saying that they're kind of basically that their control of business and speech and everything is stifling innovation and stifling the economy a little bit. And then the day after he said that, he was a host of a TV show, like one where they turn the chair around and say "you win." Or whatever.
He was on one of those.
He was on one of those.
You've got America's Good Voice, or China's Got Talent, or America's Good Voice. That sounds like the
direct translation.
Yeah,
like you put it into Google Chinese and then put it back in English.
Yeah, exactly. Like whenever you see like a Chinese arcade game where it's gunfire punch. Yeah. Like in Chinese, this is a fucking cool name.
It's like Rambo, dude. It's like his first blood.
It doesn't make any sense here.
But so they fired him from the show. Erased his face from any history of being on the show.
Yeah, and let me tell you right now, folks.
I mean,
with pleasure, I erased that face.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Thank God he's off all my morning commute posters.
Yeah.
You know. But I just think it's very interesting that nobody's seen him since October.
Since October? That's a long fucking time.
I believe it's been since October.
Don't quote us.
It has.
That's our tagline on the show here. We're a new show, but don't quote us.
There are things that I know for sure, but if you ask me a follow-up question, I will cower immediately. Be like, maybe I don't know.
Look at him. Doesn't he look like just like an? He just doesn't look real, dude. He looks like just his face is sloughing off of his head.
Yeah, it looks like a filter.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he hasn't been seen since October, and he's got $35 billion. He's been erased from everything, which China just arrested the other billionaire in Hong Kong. We covered that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the only country in the world where billionaires are not above the law.
Yeah.
But
in fact, it's a good way to get on the government's shit list over there.
100%. They were about to launch Alibaba, and his whole financial group was about to go public, and it was going to be the world's largest IPO in the history.
No, Alibaba is already launched. You're saying his separate group, because Alibaba is already a publicly traded company.
It's right here. It's called Ant Group.
Okay, yeah.
And he was about to have a $37 billion IPO in early November.
And the
government just was like, nope, we're freezing all your assets. You're not doing anything.
Is there suspicion that he's been killed, or do they think he's a prisoner somewhere?
It seems like some guy on MSNBC, Faber. Do you know who that is? He's a financial guy. Maybe
on MSNBC. I don't listen to any of their fucking weird bullshit on. Are you kidding me? Getting my financial news from MSNBC? Are you fucking high?
It is OAN only.
Yeah, I guess, and I get my science from Fox. What the fuck are you talking about, folks?
Right. So some financial guy says that although he has not talked to him directly, he knows from somebody familiar with Jack Ma that he's fine.
Okay.
That's as close of. That's the most information on his whereabouts is that he's laying low, according to a friend of a friend.
Well,
He's probably is laying low, meaning like in a prison.
you know, seems like look, I feel like he had a good enough life.
Right.
So, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I just but it's just you're not running a really great society when your local news has to say somebody is not missing. That's the only way you could. You're like, Jack Ma, look, he's not missing.
Yeah.
They're not saying where he is, what he's doing. They're just telling you, hey, he is not missing.
That's like the story that the government just plants across all. Yeah, that's rough, man. We'll keep our eye on the situation. That's for goddamn sure. I was going to talk about these Iranian executions.
Of course.
I feel like there'll always be that's sort of an evergreen topic. Yeah, so apparently what's going on right now is there's been a string of executions carried out by the Iranian government on what are being identified as children or minors, juveniles. Juvies. I mean, they do call them juveniles in the articles, which I think is sort of unclear.
It was really weird how they spelled it JEWV.
Yeah. So,
INILES.
Not entirely sure how young those children are. So I thought I kind of wanted to take a look at the situation from a Sharia legal perspective. As many of you know, I practice in the region. I'm a pretty well-established attorney out there. I recently got a client off of a DWLM, driving while listening to music. He walked, dude. You wouldn't even believe it. So I have one of those.
You are a good Sharia lawyer.
I'm one of the best Sharia lawyers around.
So you're a defense?
I do.
You're a Sharia defense attorney?
Yeah.
Because that's tough.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
That might be the worst
Yeah. When the
job in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes the prosecution is backed by Allah, which is a tough one.
That's how he's let's just say he's a little bit of a Johnny Cochran.
But I am one of the few people in the area with Jewish friends, and puts me at a sort of an advantage. So used it against some of my most challenging opponents. This particular situation in Iran is pretty challenging because by calling them a juvenile, I don't know how old these people are. They could be 17,
right?
Could be 16. So in which case, and also there's a lot of also questions in the situation that I'm unaware of. Whose parents are taller, the judge or the
yeah, the father's standing in the community.
Of course. How many beats? Anybody? The jurors were made available to the jurors.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, real quick though, the kid was 16 when he was charged, but he was 30 when they executed him.
Oh, so they gave him speedy trial. That's fair. I would forget. At that point, you just forget.
Right. Also, it's like maybe he was trying for the execution at that. After 14 years in an Iranian prison.
I like it. The attorney has been appealing for 14 years. Jesus, dude.
I mean, it's tough, if you're going against a book that was written.
Someone's got to take
rules
the
are
gig.
rules.
Someone's got to take the gig, and listen, I do it. I'm proud.
As a lawyer,
to
do you get to wear that cool hat that the guy who was always roasting Trump is the Ayatollah or whatever?
Yeah, no, that's a judge's hat. You're talking about
okay,
the fortune teller hat.
Yeah, that really poofy one that guy wears.
Yeah, no, you can wear that hat if you're a judge, of course.
Khomeini, I believe his name is.
Yeah, Khomeini.
Yeah.
No, over there I've got a nice little skull cap situation, and I actually can pull it down and it turns into a neck brace. So I'm a Sharia accident attorney. So let's do it. let's go ahead and close this bad boy out here, ladies and germs, ladies and barely legal ladies and gentlemen. Barely legal. Can we talk about this as a genre of pornography? Who's watching this? Who's it for?
It's for lawyers.
Yeah, who's jerking off and thinking, you know what I need to do? I need to interject the criminal justice system into the mix.
Okay, this I'll set this one up. I found this today, and it only took me 8 years to find.
Yeah,
It happened in 2012.
The premise of this bit, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here last, is when Bryan and I inevitably run into something that was produced 10 to 15 years ago.
Our heyday, as we call it.
Our heyday. And we had not heard about it. We share it with each other. And honestly, the chances are you probably didn't see this story either. It wasn't necessarily front and center.
And you definitely didn't see it covered the way we're going to cover it.
Yeah.
Because I went back and I looked at how the media talked about this, and they were very serious about how horrible this was.
All right, so set this clip up.
So we're watching, this is allegedly an Egyptian comedian, although it's pretty hard to tell from the way he behaves.
Maybe he's doing something, maybe he's in character.
Yeah, he's doing like a Jim Carrey, I'm Andy Kaufman thing now.
He did look like, he was dressed
Although
like
he
Tony
would not be Andy
Clifton.
Kaufman.
He was dressed like Tony Clifton.
He was dressed, yes. He did look like he owned, like he was like a pit boss at a very shitty old Vegas casino.
Yeah, so there's an Arab comedian. He's an Egyptian comedian.
And he's being pranked by an Egyptian show. And now he's showing up for an interview. It's all Egyptian, the crew, he thinks that it's for German television.
Yeah.
But as we watch, which we're going to have to again, we only watch videos that are in Arabic, so we have to read the subtitles.
Yeah,
too.
we will be reading subtitles to you guys. We understand that none of you understand Arabic. We get it. So we'll be reading these subtitles. Bear with us.
He finds out that the premise of the prank is that the TV station he's working for is Israeli owned.
Yeah.
Through a caller, and that's where we pick up.
By the way, that means somebody wrote this bit. I love the idea
yes.
that there's a writer's room that's like they're going together. They're going, how can we really fuck with this guy?
I know.
Okay, so here we go. So he is So we're looking at what looks like, by the way, just to set it up clearly here, hit pause really quickly.
She is so hot.
We're looking at a split screen, right? We're looking at a in-studio kind of interview, and the host, who is an incredibly attractive young Egyptian woman, is taking calls. And so they're interviewing this
bloated
this Egyptian.
By the way, I got a comment on his hairline. His hairline is so far down his forehead that his forehead is going bald, but still where the baldness meets is still a great hairline.
Yeah, he's got the hairline of like a Dracula costume. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else.
And he looks booze bloated.
Yeah, he's definitely this guy is definitely drinking behind closed doors, and I'm gonna be honest with you, based on the shape of his face, he's sneaking some pork in there. I'm not gonna be shocked if I hear he's smoking.
Yeah.
He's sneaking pork in the mix.
Bacon here and there.
He may be drinking the pork. I'm not entirely sure.
So this woman is calling in and she's saying that we love your works, we enjoy your movies, but I cannot believe what I'm seeing. She says, we used to love you, but when we see you on such a TV channel, a dubious Israeli TV channel, shame on you. So he's finding out now through the caller. He thinks that he's now on an Israeli show, and they cut her off. They immediately cut the phone.
Yeah. So essentially, to really what's going on is he's realizing in this moment he's on Israeli television, and his face has changed.
He goes. By the way, that was my first time hearing the word Palestinian in Arabic. And it sounds like Philistine.
Yeah.
What is the word?
Palestine. It's the word.
Yeah.
We talked about this. I explained this to you.
I don't know if I don't remember you saying the word though.
Oh, I see.
I feel like you even were hesitant when you just said it now. It was like you didn't want to say it.
Yeah, man. I'm always Orange County first. So I'm like, why? Who told you I speak Arabic? Me every episode?
So basically what happens is I'm going to fast forward to the action. He's probing the woman like, is this an Israeli? I thought this was a German show. The producer comes in. The producer, it's so funny because I'm assuming the acting on TV over there might be a little overacting, a little more dramatic because I would...
Why? Who gave you the idea that we, as Arabs, are a little overdramatic? Where did you get such a thought?
Because
shame on you.
Ramsey just threw a shoe at me. But the producer is hamming it up so hard, and the guy is completely believing it. And the guy is really pissing him off.
Yeah.
Because this Egyptian actor is allegedly, an alpha male, and he doesn't like this producer talking to him.
He's wearing a blazer, by the way, that appears to be. I can't. What is this blazer made out of? An old, damaged prayer rug?
I don't know. I have no idea what that. But there's lines going in every direction.
There's lines and threads coming out of everywhere. He's wearing like a polo shirt underneath it. Yeah, so he's by the way, the producers come out to let them know, like, hey, listen, man, I'm Jewish, and we're totally fine, and listen, don't get political.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
And she's saying, we never said it was a German show, and he said, the producer called me, and you said it was an Egyptian show. And he's losing his mind. You people deceive and lie. The language is so direct and stern. When these dudes get mad on all these shows we're watching,
but I'm telling you right now, he is exhibiting extreme judgment right now.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of people I know, he's trying to play it cool, but you can tell by the language he's getting pretty serious.
Well, he keeps saying, "You guys try to provoke me, but I am not provoked."
He keeps saying "you people." By the way, when he references the producer, "you people."
Here we go, and he snaps now.
So she tells them that the Israeli social media. By the way, it's funny when other languages bleep. You're like,
like who the hell's gonna catch that?
Well, whatever you guys are saying is fine. I'm sure it's not an American word.
It's not a real fuck. But he's like saying, "Fuck your social media. Fuck this show. I came here to be on an Egyptian show." And here he's screaming. He says, "You bring in this producer who gets on my nerves."
Yeah, they by the way, guy they casted as Jewish is so funny. They've cast the guy with a man bun.
Yeah, he looks so Israeli. He's tall.
Their producers were just like, who's the gayest person we have on staff? That's how we have to cast our Israeli.
And now there's some mention of a gun here. I didn't quite catch it.
So now the producer has stepped into the scene and he's trying to calm the situation down. The Egyptian comedian who goes by what's his name? His name is like Jamil something. Or by the way, I tried looking up his.
You need to do it in Arabic.
Yeah, his IMDb, his Ahmed.
That's his name right there.
His Ba.
Impossible. Impenetrable. Apparently he's a huge star. Can't find anything on him.
Cannot find one show that he was on. This seems to be his biggest role.
Yeah. I'm in Kandil.
Amen Kandil?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, so this is good old Amen. I have a cousin named Amen. So this is... Okay, so he's now put his hands on the Israeli. Okay, he double fisted slapped.
Yeah, and he pushed him.
And now he shoved him. And now he's kicking a chair
the
over. He just swung. He just swung at the female host, and he knocked her down.
So he double slapped the man and then pushed him into a wall, kicked the set, and then slapped a woman while yelling, "You bitch."
I mean, he looks like Elvis in his final days right now. Like,
you ever seen that SNL sketch where Chris Farley finds out he's been drinking Folgers crystals?
Yes.
That's essentially what he's doing.
He looks like, this is like, there was that episode of the Adam Carolla show where Steve-O lost lost his mind.
Yes,
Did you ever see that one?
yes.
Not since Steve-O have I seen somebody destroy a set so thoroughly in an entertaining way.
And now this is the best part, is when he finds out it's a prank.
He goes for a gun at this moment,
Yeah,
man.
he has a gun on him.
He has a gun on him?
Yeah, no, he told the producer, he goes, in order for me to use my gun on you, I have to think you're something.
So
he told him he was nothing.
This is an Egyptian comedian, and he's doing an interview with a gun?
He probably got it. He really is Elvis in his last days.
By the way, he's going for the gun where the gun is in his ass crack. Coolest place to put a gun.
It looks like he's having a hard time like reaching
Yeah.
where the gun is.
What an unfortunate place for that gun to be.
There, he's got his hand on his gun that he didn't get it.
Dude, he's taking big swings at the furniture
He's
on.
picking up the chairs and throwing them.
Oh, man.
Of course, this will be linked in the show notes. And he writes, "You sons of bitches," and they wrote, "Stop, we were just kidding."
He just knocked over the camera.
And he said, "Are you saying you are Egyptians? Are you kidding me? Fuck you." So now, I want to really be salient about what's going on here. He's trashing a set and slapping women and reaching for a gun because he might be on an Israeli television show.
I'm not kidding. I would do the same thing. Now, and it's not even a it's not even a religious thing. You know it's gonna. You don't understand, Brian. Brian, they would that would get him assassinated. That would get him killed in the streets if they find out.
This probably saved his life. This temper tantrum.
Oh, he might be. This qualifies him to be president of 17 different Middle Eastern countries by doing this.
Anybody in the United Arab League?
Oh, anybody, including the caliphate that ISIS is attempting to build.
So he finds out it was a joke.
And he's still, by the way, losing his shit right now.
I know.
Which-
He's too wound up.
He's too wound up. He's crossed the point of no return. The woman is
Crying.
They've got 14 people between him and the woman still.
And they wrote, "Amen, please, it's a prank. Shame on you for hitting a woman."
Shame.
And this is the best part. He goes to console the woman. He calms down. Look, by the way, he just trashed the set and he slapped everybody. And now that he's calmed down, everybody's laughing like, "Oh, that went off exactly how we wanted it to go." Like, that's
Yeah.
how comfortable with.
By the way, you know this is a Middle Eastern TV set based on how short every guy's t-shirt sleeves are. That's something the Middle Eastern men can't get enough of. They think if you see more of their arms, you'll think they're buff.
But there needs to be sleeve, not sleeveless.
It can't be sleeveless. They understand that if you see too much, it's a detriment.
Right. So they get her a chair. Now the best part is right here. He goes to console, and I'm going to post a link. He goes to console the woman. Now he hugs the woman, and I don't know, maybe he forgot he had a lav mic on, like one of those mics that you put on your, you wear on a talk show that's on your collar, and so he's completely mic'd, and he's acting like he's about to console the woman. He hugs her and he whispers, but it's very loud in the mic, "You brought this on yourself."
It's so good. They're all clapping and he's whispering, "You brought this on yourself" to her. And he's treating her like she's like a young... He's like rubbing her head like, "Good on, keep your fun time." You.
Yeah. He slapped her. They gave him a standing ovation, by the way.
The producer is now speaking to him, and he's like, "You should have seen your nose. You literally had your hand on the gun. You're such an idiot."
"You were about to shoot me. I got you, you knucklehead." And he's loving it. He's laughing so hard. And this is where he really makes one of the most macho, beautiful turns of emotion I've ever seen in my life.
He goes to apologize to... Oh, they're clapping now for the hostess who got slapped.
Look,
Now he's
hitting on her now.
He's walked up to the hostess and he has said to her, the translation says, "After the show, come to my car with me.
Ready?
I'll put some lotion on your back."
He went from hitting her to hitting on her in 30 seconds.
Wow, dude, I cannot believe that this is the first time I've ever seen this. This is such a great goddamn piece of media that was made. Middle Eastern TV fucking rocks.
He picked up chairs over his head, threw them at cameras, pulled a gun, and at the end, everybody's like,
Worst Hour from now on is going to become a Middle Eastern.
Arab's funniest home videos.
It's going to be like The Soup, but for Al Jazeera content. We're the closest thing to the tabloid section of the Al Jazeera.
We gotta we gotta see if there's any video of Abdullah the Executioner, who we covered on our Patreon episode. At one point, he tells a fun story about how his handle on his sword came off when he was trying to behead somebody.
If we
could find beheading bloopers,
if you're listening to the show, I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Let's put that episode, or let's put that interview with Abdullah the Executioner from our Patreon. Let's put it on our YouTube channel. Follow the show.
Oh yeah.
Go to our YouTube, go to the show links where you're going to find a link for this video, all of our social media links, and our YouTube link. Follow the show on YouTube. We'll put that episode up there. It'll be a fun little treat as a thank you for following us on YouTube. You guys have been fantastic this morning. Thank you so much for letting us in your day here. We do appreciate it at the worst hour. Follow the show across all social media platforms. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Bryan, do you have anything else you want to say to these fine people? Email us worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com.
No, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/WHotW. On behalf of me, Bryan, everybody here at the Worst Hour Nation, peace be on to the Prophet.
Long live those wonderful Egyptian comedy shows.